Okay, let's get it going. Anyways, how's it going? I'm Damien. With WolweDans Studios and Underground Press. Thanks for taking the time out to have a short little interview with us about your upcoming tour.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we just wanted to find out. So what was the thought process and the whole inspiration about doing not only a tour to South Africa but also a masterclass tour where you're actually interacting with upcoming musicians here and guitarists?
Well, first, South Africa. I've wanted to go there for the longest time. I almost came there about 12 years ago with Guns N' Roses. We were supposed to play festivals down there, and then whatever happened, it got canceled. So I've been waiting 12 years to get over there. Finally, it's happening thanks to some good friends of mine. Chris Zen, who's going to be playing guitar with me at the show in Cape Town and at Mercury Live on the 24th. And Chris Clairhood, who's a mutual friend of ours that made it all happen. He brought over my friend Guthrie Govan, and all I hear is good stuff. So I've just been waiting to get an invitation to come over there and do some playing, and finally it's happening. So as far as master classes, clinics, workshops, whatever you want to call them, teaching, that's my favorite thing. That's what I love the most, more than being on stage. For me, the education part of music is the most inspiring. I get a lift from it, and I just love sharing everything that I've learned for 8,000 years of playing. Yeah, so always, whenever I'm touring, there's always a lot of master classes. I do music camps, all kinds of things. And I try to put all of that in with the touring. Last month, I did the BumbleFoot music camp in Ireland for a week, and we went over not just guitar stuff, but singing. We did a gig, we did studio classes, we did business classes, we did a little local bouncing around, and just try and put in everything that's needed in one-on-one lessons. Before that, I was in Mexico touring and doing stuff, and visited a children's hospital and brought my guitar, and I always try and do things like that. To me, playing on stage is not enough. At this point in life, that's empty without everything else. Have to teach and have to do something that means little something more, something that maybe can help other people get on stage and do what they do. Yeah.
That's actually really beautiful. That's amazing. I mean, as a guitarist, I'm looking forward to it so much, and I'm sure so many other people are.
And, good.
I mean, the fact that you're taking that time out, I mean, it's really special.
Oh no, it's my pleasure. I love doing that stuff. And we'll get into some interesting things at the workshop. I'd like to talk about an easy way to always hit the right notes and make a beautiful melody. There's a simple code to doing that I'm going to show everybody, where you will always hit the right notes, whether you're writing music or improvising or whatever it is. And also I want to talk about a lot of what I do when I'm teaching these kind of classes. It's not just here's a hand exercise, that kind of thing. No, it's really understanding the string, how it works, and how to get more sounds out of it. For example, keeping this mobile fret on this finger that I hit against the string rather than pressing the string against the fret, and ways you can use it to access notes beyond the fretboard, and hold it in front of the bridge to shorten the length of the string and almost de-intonate the guitar so that the frets now hit higher notes than they normally would. Things like that. We'll get into that. You could say it's almost playing the string from both directions at once. Yeah.
Yeah. The one thing I was always curious about, I'm a slide guitarist. I play a lot of blues and stuff. With the fretless guitar, how does that change the access to playability? Because obviously now you're not limited by a slide. You have your whole hand and access to the same sort of fretless intonation that you have with a slide.
It's like a slide on every fingertip. So instead of just having to do a tuning specifically and then doing it all like this, which is, I mean, it's certainly doable, but now you have it everywhere. Yeah, everything. Well, if you're coming, please, take my guitar and fool around on this fretless and try it out. I think you're gonna love it. definitely. Especially you're a slide player, so you get it. You know about intonating and putting your finger right where the fret would be, and
And then obviously just that old standard having the vibrato in your hand, just gives it that voicing.
yeah. And then little tricks like using your fingernail instead, so that you get a lot more sustain. Like that. Cool.
Very, very interesting. So we just wanted to also find out a little bit about your background, obviously with Guns N' Roses, Asia, and then your own project, Sons of Apollo and Art of Anarchy.
Mm-hmm.
Just get a little bit of background for the people here.
Okay, well, starting with my own thing, that started really when I was about 6 years old in 1976. As a little kid, making demos, using multiple cassette recorders and just figuring out how to do multi-tracking by recording on one, playing it back on this one while singing along with it and recording on this one, and then doing things like that, and cutting up cups of confetti, homemade confetti, just cutting pieces of paper all day, so that at the end of our concerts as little kids, the audience would throw the confetti in the air. So it really goes back to then. But as far as the real stuff, I started putting out stuff on different comp CDs, guitar comp CDs. In the early 90s, I had a record deal on Shrapnel Records and put out 2 albums there in the mid 90s. And then I started my own record label and got distributors around different parts of the world and started putting out my own BumbleFoot albums at that point. And as I was doing that, and I was also doing a lot of guest work on other people's albums and doing a lot of soundtracks for horror movies, for TV shows, video games, and everything just climbing. And then also jamming with lots of interesting people. I mean, Nancy Sinatra, people like that.
So you played with Nancy Sinatra?
Oh, yeah. All
That's
different.
insane.
It's a long list of people I've jammed with that you wouldn't expect. I did for a dance version of the song Irresistible for Jessica Simpson. I did all this nylon string kind of neoclassical riffing throughout it. I've done a lot of stuff people don't realize. If you watch WWE wrestling, a lot of the background music on SmackDown and Raw and different things, they've used pieces of my stuff. Oprah Winfrey, Tom Brokaw, So You Think You Can Dance. People have heard my music and not even known that it was mine. But as far as stuff that's on albums, that kind of thing. Yeah, so I did a lot of touring, especially in Europe, and then started playing with Guns N' Roses, and we did 8 years together. And during that time, I had another band with the bass player of Disturbed called Art of Anarchy, and our first single was Scott Weiland. And then for the next album after he passed away, we had Scott Stapp from Creed. And then Sons of Apollo with Mike Portnoy on drums, Billy Sheehan on bass, Jeff Scott Soto on vocals, Derek Sherinian on keyboards. And we're finishing up the second album now, is being mixed, and that'll be out in January, and then we're going to start doing some touring. And then this past year, I started being the lead singer of the band Asia and guitar player. So, the Asia, I never meant to be so bad to you, that band. So that started when I had this other little fun band that was Carmine Appice on drums. It was Rudy Sarzo on bass. Phil Narrow, the singer of Billy Sheehan's band Talus, was on vocals. And on keyboards was Jeff Downs from Yes and Asia. And we were doing stuff a few years ago, just having fun. And then from that's how the Asia connection happened. So I was going to play with them in 2017 on guitar when John Wetton was still alive, and he was going to be on bass and vocals. And they were opening for Journey. But I was so busy with Sons of Apollo getting off the ground, and Art of Anarchy's second album, The Madness, was in the album cycle that we had to tour and support. So it wasn't the right time. And since then, sadly, John Wetton passed away, and they had the tour opening for Yes this summer, so they asked if I could do it on guitar. I said yeah, and then they asked if I would also sing. So I became the lead singer and lead guitarist of the frontman of the band Asia. And then Steve Howe was joining us for the last half of the show. So when he joins, to keep it a one guitarist band, I would take off my guitar and I would just be the lead singer. And so, yeah, and had a great time. It was good. So Asia, doing all the hits.
That must have been nerve-wracking. I feel lost on stage without my guitar. Like I just can't handle it. It's like my shield between me and the people, you know?
Right, it's like the security blanket. But no, you know what? It was liberating. I was like, finally, I got this 20-pound double neck off my neck. And it was good because I found that I could sing even better when the body was free. So it was cool. Yeah. So just doing my best sort of vocal sound for those songs, because that's also the thing I realized is that if you don't have the right tone to your voice when you sing certain songs, it's like changing the lyrics or changing the melody if you change the tone. Like you have songs that everybody knows the sound of, the fans there, and they want to hear that sound, that sort of, you know, I never meant to be so bad to you. Like that sort of whoop and no vibrato. Now, if you go onto it and you're like, I never meant to be so bad to you, like doing that kind of thing, it's just not going to sound like a song. And it would be the same thing as changing the melody or the words. Like it's just wrong. So I had to really train my voice to make sure that I was able to comfortably sing that way, and my brain would default to, okay, bring this out, resonate here, open this up, no vibrato, and like that kind of thing, and just training the body to sing the right way for those songs. So doing that while playing a double neck where I'm jumping to all the slide parts and then jumping down while singing like someone else, playing someone else's guitar parts that don't anchor in the same places, switching guitar sounds with my left foot and switching vocal patches for reverbs and megaphone sounds with my right foot. So yeah, it was easy.
Yeah, so this masterclass definitely isn't just for guitarists. I mean, if you just want to be an all great musician, it's definitely worth coming.
Oh, cool, thank you, yeah. There's so much I could tell you about, not just the guitar playing aspect, but songwriting aspect, playing with different people, singing, how to, navigate through those crazy, waters of the music business. Yeah, just basically I could share decades of life experience and the mistakes I've made and what I've learned from them and the right choices I made and what I've learned from them. And hopefully people come out of there with some good ideas about things and something that they could take and use in their own way. Yeah.
Yeah. Just another interesting thing. So one of the guys from Yes, Trevor Raymond, happens to be a South African.
Cool.
We just wanted to see what you thought about him.
Oh, yeah, phenomenal. I mean, he, as much as a lot of Yes fans are purists and like Steve Howe, which is understandable, but I mean, he made what you could say is the biggest hit album that they had. And what I love about him, not just as a guitar player, but as a producer, is he really made the first modern CD. Because before that, they were very sterile, they were small, everyone's like, oh, vinyl's better, vinyl's better, vinyl's better. And of course, vinyl is better. But he made the first one that pushed the levels, that had the big sonic width and full bandwidth of lows to highs that CDs didn't have before that album. He really pioneered a whole, the modern generation of sound and mixes and mastering and recordings. Yeah, it was a groundbreaking thing when 90125 came out. It was. And besides that, just, taking Yes into a newer I guess you could say, chapter in a way where they sounded like a 70s band. And sure, the album Drama, you could say, before it was, starting to cross over a little bit. But still, Tempest Fugit, Does It Really Happen? It still sounded like the original Yes, even with different vocals. But when 90125 came out, that was a whole fresh, it was a huge growth spurt that he brought in. And songs like Leave It and Changes, and those, it was a great, great album. Yeah. So, yeah, he really had a huge impact, not just on Yes, but on music as a producer. Yeah.
No, that's very interesting. I actually didn't know that. It's very, very cool. So they said this is going to be your first time out to South Africa.
It is, yes. Yes.
Yeah. So what sort of tourist attractions are you hoping to see? Or what are you hoping to do here?
Well, I was supposed to be there 12 years ago with Guns, and sadly the show.
It's actually interesting. I had tickets to that show.
Yeah, the festival.
And then they canceled.
Yeah, I know, and it was so disappointing. I was really looking forward to that, but thankfully, guitar player, local guitarist Chris Zen, he arranged to have this happen. He'll be playing with me at the concert too on guitar, so I'm looking forward to that. He's a great guitar player. So what am I looking forward to doing? I mean, there's so much from the nature to just of course the sights, but I'm a foodie. I'm about the food. I want to get the spiciest biltong you've got. Yeah, I want my mouth to be on fire. I love spicy, and so that's one thing for sure that I want to do is just eat the real food. I want to get some traditional stuff, and I know that there's a lot of different cuisines that have interjected themselves. There's curries, there's all kinds of things that you can get there.
Interesting thing, Chris that you're going to be with, he's actually from Durban, so you need to tell him to get you a bunny chow. Now it's an Indian cuisine where they put curry in like a half loaf of bread, and you can get it quite spicy as well. But you need to tell Chris to get you a bunny chow. You'll love it. Good,
I'm gonna try it. Yeah, any food recommendations, I'm all about it. I do this so that I can go places and eat food. That's what this is just a food delivery system, is what this is. All about the food. Yes, and I've definitely eaten some strange things in strange places. Eating brains in Bangladesh, eating raw horse meat in Japan, which, I mean, I wouldn't have said, go kill a horse and put it on my plate, but it was already on the plate, so why put it to waste? Some interesting stuff, yeah. The different puddings that you'll find in the UK. Black pudding, which is just like a hockey puck made of coagulated blood. There's a lot of interesting foods out there. Yeah, I love Indonesian food. Gado-gado, delicious, so good, peanutty. Yeah, and that's one of the great joys of travel, because food is definitely a huge identity for a place. It tells you not just about what's indigenous nature-wise, what grows there, but not just what people eat, but also what people have brought in and who has come in and the impact that they've made on the place. There's a lot to it. I find that architecture and food play a big role in the identity of different places, and I love experiencing that. I love the architecture as well. Whether it's a 4,000-year-old ring fort at the top of a hill in Northern Ireland, or if it's the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, whatever it is, it tells you so much about history, and it's amazing. Yeah.
No, I strongly agree. So I was going to ask you whether the Vagia double B-foot would make an appearance, but seeing as you already got it on your lap, I suppose that answers that question.
That is definitely, that's going to be there for sure, yes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that picture of that guitar I've seen almost everywhere. I've always wanted to play on a fretless, and you don't get them anywhere.
No. All right. Well, I should talk to Paul Bothner Bothner Music and see if they can get some, because they make single neck fretlesses also. So I wonder if they can maybe get some in, because they're pretty cool. You could do a lot with them.
Yeah. Well, as I said, as a slide guitarist, I'd love to have that.
Yeah. I mean, there's just cool things you can do with it. Yeah. So I recommend fretless.
Yeah, and I did see on some of the posters that you're going to be having a Cort guitar giveaway.
Yes. I play Cort acoustic guitars. They've made lately some beautiful high-end guitars, the Gold Series A6, A8, and they have one with nice beveled edge right here, so it doesn't cut into your arm as much, and it's really good sounding stuff, good electronics, really nice on the hands. So yes, we're going to be giving away a Cort. There's the little contest going. Yeah. Good.
Okay, well that's very awesome. And then yeah, I think that's all that we have about for you today. If there's anything else you want to elaborate on with upcoming or anything.
Oh, I'm just looking forward to seeing everybody and being there and just smelling the air. Yeah. So good. Just big thank you. Looking forward to meeting everybody and spending some time together for sure, and cool. Making some music together as well. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you. Absolute pleasure. Thank you for the questions, your time. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Good. And I'll see you soon.
You too. Cheers, eh?
Okay. Bye-bye.